You are listening to Theoretical Insights of D&D.
Lord, give me a fireball!
Screw how hot your skin is, my bars are hotter. Let me tell you what this is. Let me tell you, you listeners, if you don't know what the zombie has packing in his decaying flesh. You shut up, cancer bones. You gonna be a zombie if that cancer doesn't get cured.
Hey guys, I'm Rob.
And I'm Eric.
Welcome back to Theoretical Insights of D&D, and this is take 2 because we realized we had no idea what we were trying to do.
Yeah, it kind of went off there.
It got to the point to where I was like, this is not going to be enjoyable.
It got weird, and not the water weird kind.
And we didn't have a bucket. So today we have decided that we're going to discuss the vehicles of Dungeons and Dragons and probably even build a few of our own.
Yeah, a little bit of theory crafted.
Because we know of one that was pretty much theory crafted for us in the campaign that Jeremiah ran at the gaming shop, Joe Card.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
So what are some of the vehicles that, because you've got the list there in front of you and available to you, my computer is in the middle of recording this, so I can't really use it right now.
See,
So
we've got
go ahead and lead the way, sir.
We've got your standard boats, rowboats, galleons, warships, astral skiffs, battle balloon. There's even a mechanical beholder in here.
A mechanical beholder?
Yes, it is from, I believe it's from, what was it?
Isn't that what the Xanathar's Guild rides on a good time? Like that's what they have in their tavern? And they place bets to see who can stay on it the longest?
It probably would be.
Step right up and see if you can last 10 seconds on the mechanical beholder.
No, I think it was made for Acquisitions Incorporated. And it's actual, you get into it and ride it, right in it, and it's got all the lasers.
Oh, so it's kind of like a mech suit in a way. Okay.
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, go! Power of Xanathar.
Power of necrosis.
Ray of death.
So, I mean, realistically, looking at this list of vehicles, there's a lot of just some of the mundane, and there's the off-the-wall, like the mechanical beholder. But what is the point of a vehicle in D&D when it is so easy to get a horse?
Well, you've got, you can take everything with you. Like you've got a wagon, you've got storage, you've got a place to sleep if you can't get a tent put up.
Yeah.
You've got protection from the elements, just stuff like that.
So, from our perspective, and when I say our, I mean yours, because we don't agree on everything. What are the most useful vehicles off of that list for traveling a world? And I mean something like Faerun, specifically, to get from Neverwinter to Waterdeep, and then from Waterdeep up to Baldur's Gate.
Definitely an airship. Definitely.
All right. What if there was some kind of ban on airships at the time? If something happened and all airships were grounded for a minimum of 6 months.
Like, say, dragons were...
Yeah, say
okay.
there's a dragon invasion.
Or
like something from Storm King's Thunder to where it was no longer safe to have an airship because you've got the cloud giants up there hunting.
Yeah. I would say probably a galleon.
Galleon. Sea travel.
Yeah, because like a galleon, you would have room to store your horses and possibly a small wagon.
Yeah.
And that way you just go up the coast, unload your horses and wagon, and go inland as far as you need to go.
Well, here's the other issue. Galleon isn't small.
No.
So you're only going to be able to take it so far up the river.
Yeah.
What about those places like, God, what's the name of the place we just went on our Friday night game?
I'm not sure.
Something Stronghold.
But with a galleon, you've got a boat. You've got a rowboat on the back.
Oh, yeah, but getting 6 people into a rowboat and then rowing it upstream.
You could possibly tow a small skiff behind you
Yeah.
in a galleon, and then get in that and go upriver.
Here's my question. There are, specifically in the world of Faerun, and within even like my game in Jormungandr and Jeremiah's game in Jokark, there was a lot of magical power there. And there are certain artifacts and things like the turrets at the Arcane Tower in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
That run off of magic. Could you not build a vehicle and put it in your world and have the catalyst in its power be derived from the weave? Like there be some kind of arcane crystal in which will give it the power and the ability to move under its own power like a modern day vehicle.
So you're a weave powered cart, basically.
Yeah, something like. Well, the reason I say that is because in Jokark there was Scrappy, and he was my first ever run in with an artificer. He was an NPC, became Phil Von T's closest friend. Okay. Well, Scrappy had a truck, and I mean an actual truck.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, the way that Jeremiah described it, it looked like a Model A or a Model T from Ford in the early 30s or the late 30s. One of the bigger ones, but it ran off of some kind of jewel or gem that had some kind of magical arcane power.
Yeah.
And we described it as I remember in character I asked Scrappy, well, how much power does this thing have? And in his world, in parentheses, they hadn't come up with any kind of measurement for, in modern day horsepower. So me being the smart aleck that I am, well, how many rabid dogs do you think
I remember that.
do you think it would take to match this truck's power? He said probably about 300. I said, so it's 300 rabid dog power.
Yeah.
And the rabid dog powered truck was born.
And you had Juan Jane in the back with his pistols.
Yeah. But that truck was big enough for the entire party to ride on.
Yeah, we rode in the back.
It was a
one
single
up front
cab.
with Scrappy.
Yeah, it was a single cab with a bench.
Yeah.
It was not easy to drive.
Yeah, oh God.
It was
yeah,
not
there
easy
was
to drive.
levers and all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
in
the
that thing.
brake and the what would be considered the accelerator was levers. The steering was like a modern day, vehicle. And then it had a truck bed big enough for pretty much a carriage that was attached to that cab, big enough for everybody to ride on. So that's my thought. We see the regular everyday vehicles of D&D. How do we make them better? Let's theorize this for the first time in the history of the podcast. Let's become Theoretical Insights of D&D.
Let's theorize some D&D.
Yeah, for the first time in a year and a half.
It's according to like this is just standard Faerun with airships and all that.
Not even so much Faerun, but let's say, because I know that the listeners are not going to have any idea what we're talking about when we say Jormungandr and Jokark.
Yeah.
But they weren't that far different from Faerun.
No, it was
really similar. So from the vehicles that were available, and we'll throw a cart in there because it's technically a vehicle, even though it requires something to pull it. The cart, the airship, the galleon, the rowboat, or just like a war wagon or whatever.
Yeah.
What could we do to make them more useful than they already are, or cooler than they already are? And can we make something that will be as affordable as a like a war cart or a war wagon, but moves on its own, offers protection like the war wagon, and if needed could be used as a battering ram to drive full speed into the adult Black Dragon.
The whole thing with the crystal, I had a thought. What if we had the party's wizard? Like, this would be a war wagon, but maybe longer. It'd be armored, of course. And you have your party's wizard, or whoever the best spellcaster in this party is. Wizard, warlock, sorcerer, maybe in the artificer. The artificer would be like in the middle of this thing doing his blacksmith stuff. Doing that powers the wagon as he's pouring his magic into this anvil.
Yeah, I could see that. Or because these are not going to be cheap.
No.
Yeah, these are not going to be cheap. This is going to be something for probably 10th level and later.
Yeah, this is mid to high.
By 9th and 10th level, you'll have access to 5th level spells.
Mm-hmm.
The wizard, sorcerer, or warlock even could recharge the crystal with a spell slot. Depending upon what spell slot is used, will give you a certain number of days or a certain number of miles worth of, in air quotes, fuel.
Yeah, I could definitely see. Yeah, that would. And that way they wouldn't have to sit and concentrate on it while they're... Yeah, I could see that.
And then we get into what's the smallest, what's the largest, what's the most popular. Because in this is how I think we need to do it. What's the most popular truck in the United States?
The F-150.
Yeah, has been for
the
over
most
50
sold
years.
truck for years.
Yeah. What is the most popular mid-sized sedan in U.S. history?
Is it the Crown Vic?
It would either be the Crown Vic or it would be one of the Honda Accords.
Yeah.
So something about that size. Maybe even something like a Geo Metro or a Mazda Miata. Something that's small.
A two-man party going out on a scouting mission.
Yeah. Gets small, gets good gas mileage. Something that the local blacksmith would have to be able to run, get some materials, throw it in the trunk, and come back. And then...
That would change the game entirely.
Shipment. Let's throw in the 18-wheelers too. D&Dify the vehicles we see driving on the roads today. What it would take, how we'll do it.
And the bigger the vehicle, the higher the spell level.
Well, you don't have to worry about higher the spell level. You have to worry about how far it's going to go.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this is something that you would have to sit down and actually figure out. Look at the real world fuel usages of these things, and then kind of D&Dify it and be like, okay, if you
a motorcycle level 2 spell slot would last the day.
Yeah, would last like 300 miles.
Yeah.
Now the full size truck version, level 5 spell slot, lasts you about 300 miles.
Yeah.
It's going to take more to get that far.
But you can carry more people with you and more materials, and yeah.
And you never know. You might run out of fuel after a big fight, and now you're stranded.
Yeah, because you wizards out of spell slots.
And now you have to sleep in your truck. So...
Or a van down by the river.
What would that look like in Faerun? Would it completely replace everything, or would it be only available to the elite? Like, I figure you would see a lot more of these rolling around in Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, and Neverwinter than you would anywhere else.
But see, here's the thing about D&D. Unless you're actually playing through the campaign books, there's really no time pass between, like, Stone Age, Bronze Age, Modern Age, stuff like that.
So realistically, everything like that we're talking about can exist coherently.
Yeah. But I would say, like, yeah, it would probably be just the main cities, maybe one or two in these smaller towns, and then the little villages along the way, just get to see them pass by, and they've still got horse-drawn carts.
Yeah. Now, there's an easy way to make sure that there's enough room for them. Just say if you wanted to run a game with that kind of stuff present in it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the roads are 3 times wider than they usually are in the module.
Yeah.
Just say they're, instead of being 10 foot wide, they're 30 foot wide. The roads are 30 foot wide.
Yeah.
It gives plenty of room for all this traffic to pass by, the cart being passed by the rapid dog powered truck or whatever, or rapid dog powered truck coming back the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, just widen the roads.
So here's the question. What would we put in as the competitor to the average cart?
To the average horse-drawn cart?
Yes. I think it would be like a Geo Metro.
I would say a sedan, because your horse-drawn cart can carry a few people.
Four comfortably.
A Geo Metro is not 4 comfortably.
Yeah. You got a point.
That's 2 comfortably and 1 guy laying in the back seat cramped.
Yeah, so from
I'd say a Civic.
from a real world standpoint, what would this vehicle look like? Because obviously we're not going to have the rubber tires on alloy wheels with the suspension and combustion engine and all that stuff. More specifically, what kind of gem or stone would be the catalyst for the power that it's getting?
Oh, Lord.
Because we have access to the moon gem or moonstones, anything like that we could have there.
We'll see. I'm still thinking what the cart would look like. And I would say ease of immersion, what we just talked about. Have it look almost exactly like a regular horse-drawn cart, but with the addition to have the stone somewhere inside it, maybe underneath the driver's bench, and then you have a mechanism for the driver to steer.
Yeah, an actual steering gearbox and a gearbox in which the stone can turn to give power to a drive shaft to lead back into the rear axle to turn the rear wheels. Or just have it simple, stone in the middle between the rear wheels turns the rear wheels on the
But
axle.
It would be like, and this goes back to ease of manufacture for these carriage builders.
Yep.
It's it's like a Civic with the different trim levels. You've got your horse-drawn version, you've got your magical powered version.
And for an extra 500 gold, they'll throw in another stone to make it all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Yep. 500 gold more, and they'll make it all-wheel drive for you. So,
I mean, $3,000
yeah.
in real world money.
Yeah. So, now we got to talk about the big boys.
Oh, these armored wagons and war wagons. See, those would be easier.
Because, I mean, there's something almost somewhat magical about the airship to begin with anyway. So that's kind of covered.
Yeah.
And we could talk about something like the Galleon, turn it into, in air quotes, nuclear powered, or like a large engine powered cruise ship or whatever. But what's the point when you have the wind power?
So you say nuclear powered, and that just popped up in my head. What if we had a galleon that had a flat deck on the front? It's powered by these magical stones, and it's got a flat deck on the front for our gnome inventors and their gliders. An aircraft.
Oh, wow. Just go bomb Neverwinter real quick. No, here's something to think about too. It doesn't require more stones to get more power. You can do that. You could do it cheaper that way.
Yeah.
Say these smaller stones that you find in the carts are 500 gold a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll say 1,000 gold a piece because you make it a little more rare or a little more valuable.
Yeah.
1,000 gold a piece for these smaller stones that you find in the undercarriage of these carts. So that, if you want an all-wheel drive cart, now it's 1,000 extra gold.
Yeah.
So, a magically driven cart would be how much is a cart? What is the gold cost of a cart in D&D 5e?
Let's see. What was my... It's not what I wanted. That one. Just a standard cart is 15 gold pieces.
Just a standard horse-drawn cart is 15 gold pieces. Okay.
You've got a carriage that's 100 though.
Well, okay. The horse-drawn cart's going to be that single person.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But the carriage is how much?
100 gold piece.
Okay. So the magical cart is 1,200 gold pieces.
Yeah.
The all-wheel drive is 2,200.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, how do we get what we want to base it off of arcane power?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that magic is relevant within the world. So what kind of measurement system are we going to use?
Well, I don't think you would really use a horsepower measurement.
No, you wouldn't.
It would be thrust. Because thrust is already available in the D&D universe.
Yep, it is.
So you would base the amount of thrust on the size of the stone.
Okay. So let's say that the single stone cart is 30 thrust.
Mm-hmm.
30 thrust. Just like about the same power as a moped.
Yeah.
Double that size. And we'll double the power.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you would find in the next up in the Geo Metro.
Yeah.
60 thrust. It still lasts a while, but now it's enclosed. It's on a little bit wider wagon wheels or cart wheels, just kind of small.
Yeah.
And it has glass to protect you from the elements, to where even if it comes up a really bad thunderstorm and it's raining real heavy, you can get in the thing and you'll stay dry.
Yeah.
But it's going to use more fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Where the single stone cart off of a second level spell slot might last 150 miles.
This would be like a third level spell slot.
Yeah, a second level spell slot in the Geo Metro. And I know we're going to use real world names to where you can kind of think of how big these are. Yeah, to visualize the size of the vehicle and the overall shape of it.
Yeah, it's a comparison thing.
A second level slot will get you 30 miles.
Yeah.
Because that stone is spinning so much more power out.
Yeah. Good. And the galleon would have to have its own room, like an engine room on a ship.
Yep.
For the size of this stone.
And that stone would be about the size of the house we're sitting in now.
Yeah. And being a galleon, it would have several wizards in the crew to recharge this thing.
Yeah. So, the Geo Metro, what kind of cost do you think it would come with?
This would be like a 2-person with some storage, a larger stone.
$5,000.
I was gonna say like 3 for a 2-wheel drive version.
Yeah, 3,500 for a Geo Metro wouldn't be that bad. 4,500 for an all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So now we move on to the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly the most useful for a party. to where
Yeah.
go ahead and modernize it. Go ahead and make it a front and rear seat,
Mm-hmm.
4 doors, and a long truck bed.
Which you could have either covered or not covered.
Yes. That you could fortify, that you could arm, put a ballista in the back of the truck. I mean,
This is slowly becoming a Toyota instead of Apple.
oh boy. I didn't even think before I spoke. Oh boy. You can put a ballista in the bed of the truck.
Yeah.
Or you could leave it open for travel companions.
Yeah, you could fit at least 4 people comfortably in the back.
Well, if it's an 8-foot bed, you can fit 6.
Yeah.
So you could have 5 inside, 6 on the outside. You know, that's for like companions and stuff,
Yeah.
not so much player characters, but just the NPCs that you've recruited into your party. And be like, hey, we need to go this way. And the guy that's leading you to where you need to go is riding shotgun, and the player character sitting in the back of the truck carrying on conversation with the NPCs.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a great RP.
So here's the thing. There's a multitude of stone sizes available for the truck.
One of them's called a coyote.
Yeah. But there's also one called the power thrust. Or the thrust, or the Thrummins. Okay? So
Slaps the side of the truck. Right, got a Thrummins right here.
And when they're kind of turned on, when the magic is available, when you
It
press
whistles.
when you press the accelerator pedal or the lever or whatever you want to use, because you can, whoever's listening to this kind of make it your own, you know.
Yeah, the details are your own because we're not going in.
I mean, we're just shooting the breeze right now, but
Yeah, practically.
it's just ideas. Whenever you press the accelerator pedal, like whenever you like turnkey ignition or whatever, or you get in, you hit a button or whatever
No,
to
this
turn it
is
on.
telepathic ignition.
No, you know, it's push button start. How much magic is there that happens in D&D by pressing a button? A whole lot.
The wizard pushes a button and casts a 5-level spell slot.
You just press the button.
Hit the accelerator, starts whistling.
Yep. So there's a multitude of stone sizes available in this truck.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have it to be, there's only one manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be like a unionized massive production.
Yeah.
Probably going to be coming out of Neverwinter.
Yeah, probably Neverwinter.
Yeah, Neverwinter would probably be the home base for this. I would say you could get no less than a 120 thrust, but you can go up to let's see, 120, 240. And I'm just going to do the math easily by doubling everything. So 120, 240, 480. You could get up to a 650 in a truck.
But the bigger engines, would that be the bigger stones? Would that be a bigger truck itself? Like your 150, 250, 350,
Not
450?
necessarily, because you got to think the stone that's under the cart would probably be about the size of your fist.
Mm-hmm.
Double that,
Yeah.
it's really not that big for the Geo Metro.
Yeah.
And then you double that, it's about that big. You get up to about the 650, you're going to be looking at about the size of a Duramax diesel.
Okay, yeah.
Or a little bit bigger. So it's not going to be that hard to fit it in there. So you have your options as to where it's going to be different speed ratings. There's going to be different power, what it can pull, what it can tow, what it can carry in the bed. Just like, you know, real day stuff.
Yeah.
To make it as useful in game as it can be. You kill an ancient red dragon, the 650 truck
You
can
pull
pull,
its
that
ass.
thing back to your base.
You pull it down the mountain.
Yeah, you can pull it up the mountain. So here's where the baseline starts for the truck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking no less than 6,000 gold.
Oh, yeah.
for the, what was it, the 240?
Yeah.
And that's the baseline model. Nothing special about it. Single cab, short bed.
It's just to get some work done.
Up to the 650. 4-door, long bed with the optional 4-wheel drive. Okay?
We're talking about a 10 grand truck over here.
Oh, no, you're talking about more than that. We're talking about 15.
Yeah, I could see that for the...
Now, granted, realistically, it's not hard to come across $15,000 in a D&D game.
No, it's
If
not.
you're going through a module, it is a whole lot easier than you think it is. It's a whole lot easier to get gold than you think it is. It's just everything in a module is extremely expensive, which is why we have to make this expensive to kind of match up with that.
Yeah.
What kind of usefulness do you find that vehicle to have in D&D? Just from the different varieties that you can have from it, instead of just, okay, yeah, you got your cart, you've got, or your, what was it, the freaking, I blanked, the word you used. The cart.
The carriage.
Carriage. There you go. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Where you got your carriage, your longer carriage for more storage, your luxury carriage that has padded seats and a cover over it, up to your war wagon. You know? You have your different varying tiers of expensiveness and craftsmanship. So bring that over to the truck. We could have a couple different Geo Metros too, nicer versions and everything, and an all-wheel drive version. Now the truck, from the 240 to the 650, different cabs, different bed lengths, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, and the price changing dependingly.
Well, see, the usefulness.
Now I would say, however, that by the time you get up into the by the time you get up into the 240, oh, sorry, it was no less than the 120. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
By the time you get up into the 240, the four-wheel drive can be activated by tossing a lever that will connect the front axle to a drive shaft, because the stone's big enough to do so on its own without having to have a second one. But it will require more power to turn.
Yeah, it'll take more.
Just like it does in the real world.
Yeah.
Two-wheel drive gets better gas mileage than four and all-wheel.
I don't think the actual usefulness of these would be a whole lot more than just your standard horse-drawn carriage. Except for the fact that you don't have to feed horses. You don't have to take care of horses. You don't have to feed them. You don't have to... all that stuff.
Well, there's also you're going to be traveling a lot faster.
Yeah.
You're a lot faster.
But you've got to use spell slots to make it move.
That you get back on, if you're a warlock, a short rest.
That is true.
So if you're a high-level warlock and you have access to 5th level spell slots for your 650 truck, then pump a 5th level in there for a 200-mile range. Take a nap.
It's definitely got its advantages.
Yeah, drive your 200 miles, pump another 5th level spell slot, sit down for 10 minutes. Because that's a short rest.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a genie warlock, just bamf into your little lamp over there. 10 minutes and you got 10 minutes, you got a... No, sorry. 10 minutes, you got a long rest.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I mean, it's definitely got its advantages, but as far as carrying people, it's not really...
I think it would be more useful.
It wouldn't be game-breaking.
No, it wouldn't be game-breaking, but I think it would be better.
Yeah, it would be better.
Because, yes, the horses can die.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle of the field and you're going through, and here comes the wizard and the manticore, and you get crop dusted, you guys succeed on your saving throws, but the horses don't, so they just and they fall over and die. There you are, and now the barbarian has to pull the cart all the way into Neverwinter from 100 miles out, and he is not going to be happy about it.
But what if your stone cracks?
I would say realistically, because it has such powerful magic in it, that it would be a lot harder to do anything to that than it would a regular day horse.
Yeah. But here's a question. Let's go. You've got the Geo Metro with its little level 2 spell slot stones in it.
Yeah.
What if we're like trying to pump a 5th level spell slot into it?
Ooh.
It'll go like stink, but then it'll crack after you get there.
What if it exploded?
After he puts the spell slot in and goes boom.
Yeah, on startup. We could bring in the mafia to this. A D&D mob. Like Xanathar's Guild. Now Xanathar's Guild is just going around pumping 9th level spell slots into Geo Metros.
You'll never know what hit him.
Xanathar floats over to his goldfish. And he says,
You know, I pumped a 9th level spell slot into a Geo Metro earlier today. The fireworks show when he got in and started his car was amazing.
Joe Pesci shows up.
What the heck is this?
You could have somebody in there like Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Bro. There's our
celebrity list for this show. Just Joe Pesci.
Yeah. Just putting those vehicle types into a game brings in all kinds of different layers of possibilities.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you got Xanathar's Guild and everything like that, but
now you've got the mob.
Now you've got like a mafia. Like the Irish mafia or the Italian mob that can now go and pump a 9th level spell slot into somebody's Geo Metro that has wronged them.
Instead of putting a dead horse's head in their bed, they get blowed up.
And blow them up. And come up with a table in which the 30 thrust does this much damage when it explodes. It doesn't matter what level spell slot was pumped into it. It's based off the stone.
And that'd be basically a grenade going off.
And then go all the way up to the Galleon's 3,000 thrust.
Oh, God.
And I know there's a lot more thrust that comes out of a jet engine and probably a lot more thrust that comes out of a cruise ship's power motor, but
yeah, they're like
just for like
1,000 horsepower.
Just for like if you wanted to use something like this in your game, use horsepower. Base it off of real world stuff to where you kind of know what you're talking about. But for the 3,000 thrust, for the 30, it'd be like
it'd be a hand grenade. Basically.
Yeah, like 4d6 fire damage.
Yeah,
enough to kill a commoner or a 3rd level character. And then you get up into the 3,000 thrust.
That nuclear blast.
It would be, because the size would change.
Yeah.
And the damage would be unsurvivable.
Oh, yeah. Within a certain range, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I would say that it would have the siege capability to where it did double damage to structures.
Yeah. Imagine us parking us off the coast of a major city.
But
and just detonating it.
If something were to if you were to see the cause of the explosion coming, I would say you could make a save to get away from it.
Yeah.
Like if you can tell that the Galleon Galleon's motor's about to go, get out of Dodge. Because you can tell by the way it's going about how long you have.
Yeah.
If you get into your Geo Metro and you push that, and you do the push button start and it explodes, you are dead. Well, or you're taking 4d6
Yeah,
fire
you're
damage.
taking some damage.
Or force. You're taking 4d6 force damage. Yeah. So the only other vehicle that's kind of well, there's actually two. Do we want to put in a sports car? Like a small 2-door coupe.
I mean, you could.
This brings in the possibility of racing in D&D.
Not just dinosaur racing.
No, dude, this could be a whole campaign. You are a racing team.
Are we Speed Racer now?
Yeah. It is a racing team.
We got crossbows shooting out the underneath of it.
Yeah.
Popping people's tires.
That is gone to win the Grand Prix or whatever.
Yeah.
The goal of the campaign is to win the Grand Prix. But somebody keeps trying to sabotage you. So in between races, you're having to go around and figure out what's going on, and you have to defend yourself from oncoming attacks because the Grand Prix ain't going to do nothing about it.
Yeah.
They don't care. This is death race, right? With Jason Statham as Frankenstein.
Hmm. And you've got a passenger shooting people, slinging spells.
Or you've got somebody that's just trying to whoa. Wait a minute. Forget the gnome wizard on the manticore. You've got the Eldritch Knight fighter in the front seat of the truck launching fireball at the truck behind you. Oof.
Yeah, there's lots of things.
These types of vehicles bring in unlimited possibilities just by introducing them to it, because it brings in racing, it brings in the possibility of mobs for like mafia kills or mafia violence.
The black market would
The black
be
market,
huge.
because you could get a Geo Metro with a 240 in it.
Yeah, think of moonshiners.
Yeah. Selling the chop shops.
Yeah.
People stealing them and chopping them down and selling the arcane stones for gold.
Yep.
Possibly even building some kind of massive construct powered by these stones.
You've got like I wouldn't really, somebody running a chop shop, selling the parts to somebody else, building a massive battle wagon.
No, I got something worse in mind.
What are you thinking of?
The Arcane Tarrasque.
Ooh.
And they are trying to do it for world domination. I mean, like, when I say world, I mean that continent or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're trying to do it for domination. And now you have to figure out, okay, who's selling this stuff? Who's stealing it? Where are they taking it? Where are they sending it after they get done here? What are they doing with it? They're doing that. We're too late. It's already awake. And now you have to take it down.
This is Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude,
Jeez.
just introducing this is opening up endless possibilities. And this was only supposed to be about vehicles.
Yeah.
Which goes to prove how important vehicles are to a D&D game.
Yeah,
Even
definitely
if you
don't
go-
skimp out on vehicles.
Yeah, even if you go throughout the entire campaign without a single vehicle.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But a vehicle opens up so many doors.
Oh, yeah. And it can open up to the point to where you can start adding just crazy stuff. And I don't mean it's like crazy, like it doesn't make any sense. Because by the time you get what we're talking about here in these arcane-powered vehicles, like the Geo Metro, the truck, even the 18-wheeler with a minimum of a 650 in it, up to a 900, you have the capabilities of racing.
Yeah.
Like I said, mafia warfare to where they blow each other up in the streets. The capability of buying a $35,000 18-wheeler type truck and hauling the artificer, the entire trailer being the
that's your home
artificer's
base
forge.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like in your campaign, we had the
You had the forge car.
it was the forge in the ship.
Yeah.
We had, what was it, a galleon
Yeah,
almost?
it was a galleon that they had completely waxed the room and treated it to where you could forge in the ship and nothing will catch on fire
Yeah,
unless you
forge in the lower belly
unless
of
you
the ship.
specifically caught something on fire on the
Yeah.
ship and then you were screwed.
But yeah, vehicles are very important.
But like I said, I don't think any of those would actually break the game.
No. The 18-wheeler with the artificer's forge and everything in it would be very strong.
Think about how much easier it would be for armies to set up their catapults.
Oh yeah. Just roll up
With the
back
18-wheeler.
up 18-wheeler and fold down the sides.
Yeah,
Catapult.
there you go. It would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
And it would be useful without being overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will say if they had a bunch of 18-wheelers with catapults and you just had an orc army over there pushing them, I mean, they're going to be overpowered.
Yeah. Well,
But-
usually a lot of times in these fantasy settings, the orcs seriously outnumber everything else.
Yeah,
So it would definitely be a more even playing field.
yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. Just basing off of, there's nothing else like that in D&D, except for maybe the airship, because there's a little bit of magic
The
in the airship.
Spelljammer airships, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything like an F-150
No, not in
or a Silverado in D&D.
not in like canon D&D.
But there could be.
There could be.
I think we just proved that. Because like I said, I don't think there's anything in here that we've talked about that would be game breaking to the point to where introducing it to your game would ruin everything.
You could make it game breaking, but you can make everything game breaking in D&D.
Oh yeah,
That's just something that comes with the power of D&D.
I mean that's fair.
But you can also have it something that trods along like a horse-drawn carriage and is not really that powerful.
Yeah.
It's just a mystical aid, I guess.
Anything else you'd like to add to that?
I want to see the aircraft carrier galleon with the gnome inventors and their gliders, their magic stone powered gliders.
I mean, I think that would be a minimum of a 5,000 thrust.
Oh,
So you're looking at like hundreds.
Oh, this
upon
would be
hundreds
a
of thousands
military
of
ship.
gold. Yeah.
This is not a player character ship.
This is hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of gold worth.
This is Neverwinter's military ship.
And then let's bring in possible backstory and backgrounds for people of they were the miners bringing up these arcane stones from the earth. Whatever material they're
the
using.
dwarves coming down the mountains with these stones,
There you go.
needing armored wagons to protect them.
Yep. Because the like the hags and stuff, they're after them.
Oh, definitely.
Dragons, they want stuff of power.
That's pretty.
Yep.
Imagine rolling up on Dragon Horde with like thousands of these stones intermixed with its gold,
Oh.
and it's just laying there.
Imagine you're driving from, say, Waterdeep all the way to Baldur's Gate, which is a long way. You've been on the road for a couple of days because even the most powerful thing can only do about 50 miles an hour because of the weight.
Yeah.
So you're now being hunted by a dragon.
For your stone.
Yeah. And you got to try and outrun it, which you're not going to because you're only going 50 mile an hour, but now you're dodging and weaving through back roads and through off-road trails.
Or the dragon is hunting the stones, but he has an army of kobolds. They go out and thieve these stones from passerbyers.
Oh, so you're just talking about catalytic converter thieves now?
Pretty much.
Wow.
But you've got travelers that are parked for the night, and these kobolds have to sneak in and take your stone.
Man, it'd be a really rough day if you woke up and nobody took a turn on watch that night. Oh, that could lead to chaos within the party too.
Yep.
That would be awesome. That's definitely something to think about. Because why isn't there anything like that in D&D if we have airships? I mean, at this point, why not?
I mean, don't some cities have, like, electricity come from magical stones?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, even in Baldur's Gate 3, the Still Watch,
Yeah.
powered by an infernal iron. It's just, stuff like it already exists. Why not just go ahead and put it in?
The time will
And
come.
I don't mean like officially from Wizards of the Coast or anything like that, but why not just work it into your game? If the technology is already there and it makes sense, with it not being game breaking, instead of it taking 5 days to go from Neverwinter to Waterdeep, why not let it take 2?
Yeah.
Especially if for some reason airships are no more for a certain amount of time. So
Yeah. Let's say the giants attack and you've got the storm giants. like holding ransom over the skies, and you've got wizards and artificers working on some way to make travel faster on land or sea.
Yeah.
And you could introduce one of these things.
It just hit me in like out of the blue. Another background for a player character, mechanic.
Yeah.
One who has worked on these vehicles most of their life and know them like the back of their hand.
Mm-hmm.
To where if something goes wrong on the road, they know what they need to fix it.
That would definitely have arcane knowledge.
Yep.
Uh,
So you would automatically get proficiency in Arcana.
mm-hmm. Sleight of hand.
Well, I wouldn't so much say sleight of hand because a lot of it takes brute force.
Yeah, but you know, working on cars, you gotta have nimble
Brute
fingers.
force.
Well, nimble fingers too to get in some of these places.
No, I just use brute force.
So that's why your cars don't have. Probably wood carver's tools. Be proficient in.
Yeah, well, tinkerer's tools. That would
Yeah,
be better.
tinkerer's tools would be better.
Tinkerer's tools would be better, and I would say Arcana and investigation.
Yeah, investigation.
Because you're going to have to investigate as to what's wrong with it. So for a mechanic, Arcana, investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically a, whatever we named them, say, if we named them Natruth vehicles. Natruth vehicles. Then it would be something like a, if that's the only manufacturer, because it would need to be, Natruth mechanic. Just like there are Ford mechanics, there are Chevrolet mechanics, and there are Chrysler mechanics that are specialized to those makes. Natruth mechanic has a background.
But how about we give a background a spell they can cast? Grease.
Yeah, it would make sense, but I think that they should also be able
Or
to get
they don't take the movement deprivation from grease. They can move their normal speed in grease
But they still have to make the dexterity check.
at advantage.
Yeah. That'll work. Well, hopefully you enjoyed our ramblings and possibly even found it interesting because, I mean, we did.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an interesting conversation.
Do not leave vehicles out of a game. I mean, if you do, that's totally fine, and by all means. But vehicles bring so many more opportunities to a party.
Well, like we were talking about, specifically these vehicles are bringing so many more opportunities for kind of story arcs.
Yeah.
And different side quest missions. Like, why is Xanathar's guild starting to blow up vehicles?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they pumping 6-level spell slots into the Geo Metros?
Yeah.
So it brings in a whole new storyline that can be followed.
Yeah, it's side quests.
Yeah. And that would be really cool. Especially rolling around in your 650 truck.
Yeah.
4-door, 4-wheel drive, 8-foot long bed.
With a heavy ballista in the back.
Yep. Put it on a lift kit.
Big rims, thin wood slats around it.
And I'm thinking, like, before we end, to where we can visualize what they'd be, 120 would be like a early 2000s Ford Ranger or a Chevy S10.
Yeah.
One of the smaller trucks. The 650 would be like the modern day diesels.
Yeah, you big,
Like
you
the
big
full
450.
size. Yeah, but no dualies in this world.
Oh, come
because,
on. It's got to be mine's going to be a dually.
Yeah, you say so until you have to replace all 6 tires at once. That's why I don't want a dually.
Yeah.
But hopefully you found it interesting and it kind of gets your brain kicking into, or your thought process kicking of what kind of vehicle could I introduce to my game as DM, or what kind of vehicle could I talk to my DM about having in the game that's not going to be game breaking, just make it interesting and a little easier for the party.
Yeah, I think this was more to spark ideas in people's heads.
Specific, because I'm a gearhead. By far, I am a gearhead.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect conversation for me. But hopefully you found it interesting. Do not forget about the Power Gaming Tournament. Let's see. When's this going to release? I think it's going to release the weekend before the cutoff.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll have to look at the schedule to make sure. So if this releases on October 21st, today's the last day. If it releases on October 14th, you have one more week. Please send us your characters. It's going to be an interesting time as we discuss and go over these characters and break them down and give a full review on each one,
Yeah,
and then
it's-
release a dramatic retelling of the fight in a dramatic fashion with backing music and sound effects and voice acting, which is
Yeah,
going to
that's
take a
gonna
lot
be-
of time and work.
It's gonna be
But
fun.
it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
And also, the New World. The first episode of the New World is set to release on, if I can get to my... Well, where'd it go? There it is. If I can get to the schedule real quick. The first episode of the New World is set to release on October 28th. Aha! This is going to release the week before the Power Gaming Tournament cutoff. So ha 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 ha!
You've got a week.
You've got a week. And the New World, October 28th. That's going to be the release for the first episode of that. So be sure to tune in for both. Send us in your characters, and we'll work in a probably for the Thanksgiving episode. We'll do the review, the special Thanksgiving episode, and then
Yeah.
do a little something for Thanksgiving as well. And just release that on Thanksgiving Day. And keep all of that in mind. And in the meantime, keep rolling high. We'll see you in the next one.